If you'd been a convict at Port Arthur 150 years ago, I think you would want to have escaped. The reason? Life was extremely hard down there. In fact, in the first year of another convict settlement, Macquarie Harbour, 169 prisoners between them received 7,000 lashes. The sort of work they had to do? Cutting down enormous trees, cutting stone, building ships. Life was hard, so they wanted to escape. But if they wanted to do that, there were several things they had to contend with. And the first was the ball and chain. That iron ball weighs 26 kilograms. It certainly slowed down your progress through the bush. Because it was attached to your ankle by means of two semicircles riveted together, about the only way to get it off was to somehow or other chop through that ankle band, if you happen to have a chisel or something like that. This ball and chain is from an escaped convict, and you can see there where the ankle band has been chiseled through and separated so that it could be removed. But even if you left your ball and chain behind after you'd escaped, there was something else you had to be very careful about. You had to be very careful where you put your foot. Imagine this is your leg. As you're walking through the bush, watching out for guards and dogs and so on, like this, if you didn't watch out very carefully, this might happen to you. What on earth is it? It's a man trap. A vicious device which could not only stop you in your tracks, but also it could break your ankle. Let's have a look at how it works. I'll press down on these springs here. They're a bit like the springs of a mouse trap. If you have a look at that, one on this side, one on that side. Two enormous jaws in the centre, and then a plate, the part on which you tread when you can't see the thing. As you noticed, when these were set, they were usually hidden by sand and all sorts of plant material. Now, to set it, this is what you do. You tread on that spring and also on this spring. You press them all the way down, and then very carefully you open the jaws. Now, when you open that jaw, get it right down in that position there, fold over this little piece of metal here and tuck it under that little hook device there. It's a little bit like setting a mouse trap and placing the cheese on it. And then very carefully fold back the other jaw and move back extremely slowly. Take your feet off the springs like that, cover it over so that it can't be seen, and the man trap is set. Now this time, we'll imagine that your foot is represented by this rock. Watch carefully what happens when you tread on the trigger plate. Here we go. There goes your foot. Fortunately, man traps are now illegal. But if you were an escaped convict from Port Arthur and you managed to get rid of your ball and chain and to elude all the man traps, you still had other problems to contend with, especially when you arrived at Eagle Hawk Neck. And Eagle Hawk Neck was a narrow strip of land around 100 metres wide, separating the peninsula on which the convict settlement of Port Arthur was located from the rest of Tasmania. Across that narrow strip of land, waiting for you, the escaped convicts, they had policemen, soldiers, and a line of chained guard dogs.